Welcome to The Foundry, where leaders are forged daily. Each week we investigate themes of leadership, entrepreneurship, and mindset with some of the greatest minds in real estate. And now, the data scientist of real estate, George Roberts.
Well, hey, here's another question from your vast experience. So I know unlike most people, you've actually done rehabs as well as ground up construction. And I think for most people, it's just surprising just how different those two businesses are. I know most builders find it difficult to be successful in both. So what did you learn from having your foot on both sides of the aisle?
So when I started in this industry 20 some years ago, I did hands-on. I know how to sweat copper pipes and build a simple wall, put some, install doors, windows, and things like that. That's how I started. So that was a great asset because it gave me it allowed me to know what really went into each one of the trades. Not that I'm exceptional at any of the trades. As a matter of fact, I'm probably below fair. But I do have some great people that are great at it, and that's what's important. Rehabbing homes is really hard compared to new construction. New construction is so much easier because you know what you're getting. You know what your framing is, you know what your foundation is. You're not going to open a wall and find, carpenter ants ate out half of the house. So there's no, other than a drastic change in pricing of materials, your budget's your budget. It's easy to follow. Yeah. You know what it is. Rehabbing is very difficult because there's no way to know when you're analyzing the property what's behind all of the walls unless they're all exposed. There's no way to know. Well, not that there's no way to know. You can guess. You can, it just becomes, it's a far more expensive endeavor. It's usually lengthier. And it's much harder. It's harder. I prefer new construction. I think most builders do. I mean, get lazy at a certain point.
Sure. I mean, it's sexy. I mean, you get to make something. You have the bare land, and then that's the thin edge of the wedge. Without all of you, there's nothing for us to buy and sell and renovate.
Yeah. Right. But I mean, renovating is great. I've had the luxury of renovating like 120-year-old buildings. Now that is a labor of love. So that's a little bit different, but I love those because the workmanship is unbelievable compared to the work we do today.
I know it's sad. Yes, we have such a disposable society. Some of that old stuff is just gorgeous.
Yes.
But let's take a little pivot here. So I know that you've become a sought after speaker on the circuit. So what would you say to somebody who's good at their craft, but maybe not getting the speaking engagements they feel they deserve?
You've caught me off guard. I had to think how I actually started. I got pretty lucky. So it's one of these times that being a woman is hugely to my advantage. A woman builder and contractor, I'm kind of a novelty. So when I put myself out there, my first engagements, it was like, oh yeah, you're a woman builder. We'll take you all day long. I started it's true. I mean, there's huge advantages to being a woman. It's not negative. I mean, I think
I just love the way you say all day long. You make it sound easy, but maybe it's like the law of the first deal. So you got your first speaking gig, and from there, it just rolls downhill, right? You just have to get out there.
Yes. So I did get my first speaking gig. Can I say Bigger Pockets? I would say for most investors.
That's not a bad name to drop.
Oh, no, they're great. That was my first, that was the first big speaking engagement that I had. No, actually, that was the second one. I did a Chicago real estate conference. And I think it's start with Bigger Pockets. I would recommend look at some of your local real estate conferences that are coming in. COVID's over, they're going back in, and make yourself known in those environments and push the leaders of them to make yourself valuable. Do a nice intro about yourself. Make sure you've got a nice headshot, and make it personable. That's how I did it. I don't know if it'll work for anybody else.
No, I like it. I think that's the perfect advice. I mean, I do talk to a lot of speakers, and that's exactly what people say. You got to get out there, make sure your package is good. That's another great bit of
Mhm.
advice. Yeah, but I think just getting out there, that's what I hear people saying. Get out there, talk to the organizers, and when you do, because how do these organizers know that you want to speak? There's so many people that are qualified, but not everybody is out there on the speaking circuit.
Right.
If they just go out and ask people cold all day long, that's not a lot of fun. But knowing that you have somebody out there that does enjoy speaking, it makes the job of inviting a whole lot more fun.
Right. And the best thing, Google real estate conferences and from the year before, find out who hosted them, reach out to them. The hardest thing for me was actually creating a bio. My original bio was like three sentences.
Yeah.
Because I don't think what I'm doing is anything worth mentioning, but to a lot of people it is. So have somebody else maybe write it for you, like what you're really good at, and then put a nice spin on it. But that's what I would recommend doing.
Yeah. Well, I love it. Hey, I appreciate your modesty. I've seen it come out many times in this interview, and I do think that most very highly successful people do tend to be a little bit on the modest side, because when you have results, they speak for themselves. But yeah, taking that personal approach, I think that's just huge too. I think it's very, very underrated. So I'd like to go more into the personal too. So I ask everybody, what are your three greatest strengths? I don't always call it out on the air, but you said perseverance, honesty, and just plain stupidity. And by
Yeah.
that, I would assume you mean that you're not afraid to take a chance. Very, very common among entrepreneurs, but please still expound on that.
I don't. I always say, people ask, well, why haven't you quit like the one? It's just because I'm just too stupid to quit. I don't know anything else. I I have a lack of. I've come to realize in life, I do not have a healthy sense of fear. And maybe that's what it is. I don't know if it's stupidity or lack of fear. I look at things and I can analyze the fear factors, but coming out here and building on this land in an area where I really didn't know anybody, to me, that's exciting, not necessarily fearful. So you kind of see,
well, great opportunity to get the RV out of the garage too. That's cool.
It's kind of stupid. I don't know. It's like,
no, I think it's wonderful, but I appreciate the modesty. Because yes, but you deal with it in a very healthy way. So as you said earlier, when you plan your projects, you do look at all of the contingencies. I mean, that's a healthy way to face fear. Whereas most people would just say, hey, this is frightening. I don't know if I should go through with it. You say, yes, I'm going to do it. And then you plan for all the contingencies so that you have a very high probability of success.
And that is one of the things that I do. And to me, something new, for people out there that are kind of saying to themselves, oh, well, this worked for me. If this is something that scares you to the point you would probably never drop the hammer, that's okay. But entrepreneurs, we have to have that sense of, many people have fear. We see excitement in it. So that's what it is.
100% true. If that resonates with you, you may be an entrepreneur. You may not know it yet.
Right. Or you just kind of look and you just keep going. And one of the things that isn't talked about a lot, being an entrepreneur, is it's also very lonely. You have to be a person that you have to be comfortable with yourself, because I have partners that are investors and people like that, but the success of the project, I mean, it falls on my shoulders. And, when things start going sideways, or you're just I'm having a bad week, and there's nobody there that says, oh, Sue, you're doing so good. They'll say I'm doing really good when we're profitable, and that's it. And I know
when the returns come in, of course, then you get all the accolades.
Yeah, that's it. And until then, it's just, oh.
Yeah, so true. And of course, I think that it's very human. I don't think there's a person alive who feels that they couldn't do it better than their boss sometimes. But the real question is, Are you willing to step out and take that level of accountability? Because if you are, then you get to find out. And that's exciting and that's very powerful.
I also think it helps me because I'm making Moody Moon Ridge bigger than myself. If I was just doing it for myself, and I think this is true of most people, but if you make it for my family, and that, okay, to some extent, I would like to create a little bit of generational wealth or ongoing passive income and this and that for my family. My daughters are, in their 20s now, and hopefully, I'll be a grandma someday. And so there'll be grandchildren and the family going. That's what will get me out of bed on the bad days. Kind of like going, okay, this is way bigger than me. Moody Moon Ridge is way bigger than me. And we have to be profitable because we're putting, our time and our money back into the elementary school out here that desperately needs us. So make it like I need to be successful because there's a lot of kids out here in rural Tennessee that without our help won't have new gym equipment. And I'm just making, those types of things.
Yeah.
Make it bigger than yourself.
I love it. Yeah. Having a purpose bigger than yourself is huge. Well, let's talk about something fun. So you did mention the Smoky Mountains. So that's where you're out right now. And that's where your project is. I think Smokies are great. I've invested out there. I think people are discovering nature in a way they haven't in the past. Some people have gotten rid of the commutes, and others have actually taken the next step and said, well, if I can work from anywhere in the world, why not work from someplace that has a low cost of living? And at the same time, it's gorgeous.
It is. Oh my gosh. This is probably my favorite place in the United States. I mean, I've been coming here for about 12 years. And I knew 12 years ago that it was someplace special. And I am honored to be building Moody Moon Ridge in the Smoky Mountains. And I have created Moody Moon Ridge. My whole concept is solely for the exactly the same, the people you just mentioned, George, exactly those people. We're a little bit outside of Gatlinburg, so not close to any type of, super tourist, but we're close enough, half-hour drive, but very close to the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, the Cherokee National Forest. I'll have 1.5 miles of walking trails just on our land alone. 5-acre plots of land, every one of them with mountain views. So
gorgeous.
It is a place, and I have the infrastructure in place for people to work out here. And that's one of the things that I really wanted to make happen was, this is a great place to not only visit, but to live.
Yeah. Well, love Gatlinburg and the Smokies. I climbed halfway up Mount 𝐿ECOMPTE with my kids. That was fun. Yeah.
Wow.
And if I knew how much fun it was, we got to see all of the waterfalls. And then we climbed for another 1.5 hours. And we saw some guy running down. He had the poles, so he was good at what he does. And I asked him, how far is it up to the top? He said, you're about halfway. So we'd already been hiking for at least maybe 3 to 4 hours. And so at that point, we decided, okay, we're done. But that was quite an adventure. If I knew how much fun it was, we would have brought the water and gone all the way up to the top. Yeah, it's beautiful out there. And that's just one of the many mountains you can climb out there. One of the more popular ones. I want to say there were at least 3 waterfalls up that mountain, but it's gorgeous out there. And Sevierville is amazing too. Dolly Parton's town. Seems like she owns half of it, and she's done an amazing job developing it. No, Pigeon Forge. Sorry, I'm mistaken. One town over. But yeah, it's all so beautiful out there. I got to see the Hatfields and the Coys. She's a real entertainer.
And it's just fun. I mean, and we are close to the water park, and Dolly Parton Way actually runs through all 3 towns. So so you're right, and she is a well-deserved, respected legend, or not. I don't want to say legend, but she has done so much for this area in Sevier County and helping children, and she's kind of one of my idols. That's why when I created Moody Moon Ridge, we're donating 10% back to our elementary schools out here. These kids need it. And so, Dolly she's a great person, and I mean, there's so many cool things to do out here. You know, the zip lining, we're only 7 minutes or 10 minutes actually, depending on traffic, from whitewater rafting down the Pigeon River.
Yeah.
And just amazing things to do out here. We've got, you know, fishing and fly fishing and like I said, 7 minutes, 7 miles to the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, the north entrance and the Cosby area. So that's where I'm
Good
at.
stuff. Well, I feel like we talk about the Smoky Mountains forever.
I
It's just a
know.
beautiful place. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the personal stuff, because I think that's important. I think it's cool just to get to know who are the entrepreneurs that get it done. So well, you're in your RV, okay, obviously like traveling, but I
am.
understand you also love swimming, and we also did talk a little bit about hiking. So that's really cool that you have those are healthy hobbies.
Right. I am part of, okay, so there's a little club out here. It's not well known. It's called the 800 Mile Club. And there's roughly 800 park, the park district takes care of roughly 800 miles of walking trails in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. So it is my goal to walk all 800 of those miles. I'm only on mile 63, but it's a work in progress.
I think it's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think it will.
I think so too. And my goal is to, as soon as tourist season's over, take some kayak lessons and start kayaking with my dog Teddy, and just kind of going down the quieter parts of the rivers.
All right, that's amazing. Well, okay, I wish this didn't have to end, but it looks like it's time for us to enter the high impact rapid fire section of the interview. Are you ready, Sue?
Okay. I am
let's do it.
ready.
All right, here it comes. Here's the 7. So if you could be known for only one thing, what would it be?
I'm a great mom.
What is the greatest lesson in leadership you have learned as an entrepreneur?
The health of the project is the most important. The health of the project has to be put first.
Yeah, absolutely. What personal characteristic has been most pivotal to your success?
We're going to go with downright stupidness. Fearlessness. We'll call it fearlessness.
Yeah, I was going to ask if we could rename that intrepidity, but you already did. Okay. All right, let's go with a random question. Mix it up a little bit. Just tell me when to stop cutting.
Stop.
This is hilarious. It's killing me. What are your favorite apps?
My favorite apps? Seriously?
Yeah.
I'm over 50. None of them.
I was going to let you stall for time. I could tell you mine. I love Audible.
Okay.
I love Blinkist. So that gives you shorts on books, so you don't have to listen to the whole thing. And Chinese. That's a great way to learn your Chinese characters. So none, those, Sue, there's got to be something. Come on, get that phone out.
So there actually is Insight Timer, because I like to do my meditations. I also have personal fitness. And what's the name of it? Yeah, My Fitness Pal. I do like that. And last but not least, because I did have hip surgeries about a year and a half ago, I do wear my Fitbit every day. So my Fitbit app. So I do have apps.
Okay, so there you go. You're practically the app queen. You just don't think of yourself as such. All right. With this, can you name a book that's helped to forge you as an entrepreneur and leader, and why?
Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, which is one of my favorite books of all time, because the key takeaway for me is it's not about the meaning of life is not about me personally. It's what does life expect of me? And that makes the picture much bigger. Much
Very deep
bigger.
cut. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. What is the biggest hurdle you've overcome in your business in the last year, and what did it teach you?
Biggest hurdle in the last year. Getting set up here in Tennessee. Really, big hurdle. It's working with all new trades, not all new. There's a few trades that are actually came with me down from Chicago. So that helped me quite a bit. That was it. I mean, setting up a business, even though I've been a builder for a while, in an area that I virtually know nobody in. And
yeah,
that was tough.
And all the rewards that go with that too. So pretty
Yes.
awesome that you surmounted that. Good stuff. All right. Can you set us out with a quote to help forge our listeners as leaders and entrepreneurs?
Quote. For me personally, or you want me to quote somebody?
Oh, hey, either way, I'm happy. What
Okay.
lights your entrepreneurial fire? We need to know.
Today's not a good day to quit.
And with that, how do our listeners reach out to Sue Hoff?
You can reach me. Our website is moodymoonridge.com. That's where I'm at in Tennessee. Or they can email me, Sue at augustlimited.com.
All right. Outstanding interview, Sue. Thank you so much. And can't wait to get this out. Just really appreciate your career and you taking your time to share your knowledge and experience with our audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, George. I appreciate it. It's been such a pleasure.
Likewise.
Okay.